At 1:47 p.m. Eastern Time, November 12, 2025, in the White House press briefing room, Karoline Leavitt is 47 seconds away from facing the most devastating question of her career. She doesn't know it. She's standing behind the podium like a career politician carved in confidence, her talking points memorized, her deflection tactics sharpened. Her navy blazer is perfectly pressed, her flag pin gleaming under the harsh television lights. She has survived dozens of hostile briefings, weathered countless political storms. This morning, she spent 2 hours in prep sessions with the communications team, rehearsing every possible angle on the Epstein emails. They wargamed questions about Trump's relationship with the financier, practiced deflections about Democratic motives, even prepared for conspiracy theory inquiries. But none of them imagined this. Her earpiece crackles with a whisper from her media handler. Smooth sailing so far. Stick to the talking points. Leavitt nods, almost imperceptibly, her confidence building with each predictable question from the press corps. But in the third row, seat 7, Zohran Mamdani is loading a different kind of weapon. This is a folder marked Financial Disclosure Forms containing 23 pages of documents that will turn a routine damage control session into a public execution. For 3 weeks, Zohran has been tracking financial breadcrumbs through a maze of shell companies, offshore accounts, and political action committees. What he discovered isn't just corruption, it's a systematic money laundering operation that reaches into the highest levels of government. The investigation began with a simple question. If Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019, why were payments still flowing to his associates in 2025? The answer led Zohran down a rabbit hole of Delaware and corporations, Cayman Islands banking records, and Swiss financial statements, each thread connected to another, creating a web of financial relationships that spanned decades. His research team, 3 forensic accountants, borrowed from his previous work on Wall Street regulations, had to sign non-disclosure agreements. They worked out of a rented office space in Long Island City using encrypted communications and burner phones, because what they were uncovering wasn't just politically explosive, it was dangerous. Minutes earlier, House Democrats released explosive emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, correspondence that mentioned President Trump by name, phrases that would dominate headlines for weeks. Knew about the girls, spent hours at my house. The dog that hasn't barked. The political establishment thinks they understand the game being played. Democrats score points with scandalous revelations. Republicans deflect with procedural complaints. The media gets their clicks. Everyone wins except the truth. But what they don't realize is that Zohran Mamdani has been playing a different game entirely. While they were focused on ancient emails and decade-old allegations, he was following the money trail that never stopped flowing. The payments that continued right up until last week. Taking down this narrative isn't just about spin. This is about ripping apart a web of connections and exposing the financial architecture that keeps Washington's secrets buried. This is about proving that the Epstein network didn't die with Jeffrey Epstein. It just learned to hide better. At 1:48 p.m. local time, 30 seconds before Leavitt calls her first question, Zohran slides a single sheet from his folder and places it on his lap. The document contains a series of numbers that will prove someone is lying. In exactly 47 seconds, those numbers will detonate like a guided missile striking the heart of the White House communications machine. The press briefing room is packed with 67 reporters, each armed with prepared questions about the Epstein emails. They are not ready for what's coming. They think this is about scandal management. They don't realize they're about to witness a financial forensic autopsy performed live on national television. Leavitt begins her statement like she has 1,000 times before. These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact President Trump did nothing wrong. Her voice carries the rehearsed authority of someone who believes her own spin. She has no idea that her next answer will become a viral moment studied in journalism schools for decades. In the third row, Zohran's hands are steady. His pulse rate is exactly 72 beats per minute, the same as it was when he walked into the building. He's not here to ask about emails or old allegations. He's here to follow the money. Because while everyone else is focused on what Jeffrey Epstein said, Zohran has been tracking what Jeffrey Epstein paid. And the document on his lap isn't just evidence. It's a surgical instrument, carefully chosen from months of financial investigation. Zohran learned long ago that in Washington, timing isn't everything, it's the only thing. Release this information too early, and it gets buried in committee hearings. Too late, and it becomes yesterday's news. But reveal it live, on camera, with no chance for damage control teams to prepare talking points. That's how you change the conversation forever. The entire briefing room is playing defense against yesterday's scandal. Zohran Mamdani is about to go on offense against today's cover-up. At 1:49 p.m. Eastern Time, Leavitt points to the second row for the first question. A soft pitch about government transparency. She handles it smoothly, deflecting to previous Democratic administration. Then she points to row 3, seat 7. The moment she does, she seals her fate. Because Zohran Mamdani isn't here to ask a question. He's here to read an accusation. Leavitt calls on him with the confidence of a press secretary, who thinks she's seen every attack angle. Yes, you in the third row. The cameras swing toward Zohran like predators catching a scent. In newsrooms across America, assignment editors are already reaching for their phones. They can sense something is different about this moment. Zohran doesn't stand immediately. Instead, he holds up the single sheet of paper so the cameras can see it exists. Physical evidence, not rumors or allegations, but documented proof of something. The gesture is calculated. In the age of deep fakes and digital manipulation, holding up actual paper carries psychological weight. Viewers at home lean forward. Producers in control rooms zoom their cameras. Even other reporters crane their necks to see what he's holding. Ms. Leavitt, Zohran begins, his voice cutting through the room's political noise like a surgeon's scalpel. This is a financial disclosure form filed with the House Ethics Committee on October 5th. The room falls silent, not the polite quiet of a routine question, but the dead air of impending catastrophe. Even the cameras stop their usual restless movement. The air conditioning system's hum suddenly seems deafeningly loud. Leavitt's confident expression flickers. For just a microsecond, the mask slips. She knows something is coming that she wasn't briefed on, something that isn't in her prep book. Her media handler in the back row is frantically flipping through his crisis management binder, searching for a protocol that doesn't exist. The form shows a $3.6 million consulting payment made to Epstein Associates LLC, 3 weeks after the initial email release in September. The payment originated from a White House discretionary fund. The recipient, Zohran pauses, letting the weight of the moment settle over the room like a toxic cloud. A shell company that shares the same Delaware registration address as a property owned by Ghislaine Maxwell's family trust. The briefing room explodes. Not with voices, but with the rapid-fire click of keyboards and camera shutters. Reporters are frantically taking notes, their faces flushed with the adrenaline that comes from witnessing a bombshell drop in real time. The sound is intoxicating. Dozens of journalists typing at maximum speed, phone notifications pinging like rain on a roof, camera operators adjusting their lenses to get the perfect shot of Leavitt's crumbling composure. In the back row, veteran correspondent Sarah Chen whispers into her phone, "This is bigger than Watergate. Clear the evening broadcast." 3 seats away, Fox News' political correspondent is debating in real time with his producer about how to frame this story. Even he knows this isn't partisan theater. This is evidence. Leavitt's face drains of color. The confident politician has been replaced by a deer caught in headlights. She shuffles through her briefing binder, looking for talking points that don't exist because no one knew this question was coming. Her senior communications aide, standing against the back wall, is mouthing instructions she can't follow because there are no instructions for this scenario. No one prepared for a live financial investigation conducted from the briefing room floor. I would have to refer you to the appropriate, she stammers, her voice losing the authority that carried her through the Epstein email deflection just minutes earlier. But Zohran isn't finished. He's just getting started. He pulls out a second document. This is the wire transfer record. Time-stamped October 16th, 11:47 a.m. 24 hours later, the same amount appears as a deposit in an account controlled by Jeffrey Epstein's estate administrator. The document isn't just a banking record. It's a smoking gun with serial numbers, routing codes, and Federal Reserve tracking information. Zohran holds it at an angle that allows the C-SPAN cameras to capture the official bank letterhead, the embossed seals, the notarized signatures. The transfer originated from Wells Fargo account number ending in 7043, registered to Executive Branch discretionary funds. The receiving account belongs to Meridian Financial Services, incorporated in Delaware, on January 3, 2020, exactly 6 months after Jeffrey Epstein's death. The clicking of keyboards grows louder, more frantic. In the CNN control room, producers are already cutting together a clip package. Fox News is debating whether to cut to commercial. MSNBC is clearing their evening programming. But this time, even Fox can't spin away documented evidence. A wire transfer is mathematics. It's time-stamped, traceable, and verifiable. You can't deflect mathematics with talking points. The transfer authorization bears 2 signatures. One belongs to Deputy Chief of Staff Michael Harrison. The other, Zohran, holds up the document. Zooming cameras struggling to focus on the signature line. Belongs to someone this administration has repeatedly claimed had no ongoing financial relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The room is no longer a press briefing. It has become a crime scene, and Zohran Mamdani is the lead detective reading the evidence into the record. Leavitt's hands are trembling as she grips the podium. She tries to speak, but her voice cracks. These allegations are... Her media training is failing her. Every deflection tactic she's learned is useless against documents with signatures and timestamps. In the back of the room, a White House communications aide is typing frantically on his phone. His message is simple. We have a problem. Kill the feed. But it's too late. The damage is already spreading beyond the briefing room. On Twitter, John Epstein money begins trending within minutes. TikTok clips of Zohran's reveal hit 500,000 views before Leavitt can finish her next sentence. Cable news chyrons are already updating with breaking new financial documents. Link White House to Epstein estate. But this isn't just viral content. Within 30 minutes, the hashtag Zohran Files is trending globally. International media outlets are scrambling to understand American political finance laws. The British Parliament is calling emergency sessions to review their own Epstein connections. Swiss banking authorities are fielding calls from American investigators. In congressional offices across Capitol Hill, phones are ringing off the hook. Republican leadership is convening emergency meetings, trying to determine if they should distance themselves from the administration or circle the wagons. Democratic leadership is already drafting subpoenas, knowing they have to strike while the story is hot. Market futures are dropping, not dramatically, but enough to signal that Wall Street takes this seriously. Because if these payments are real, if this money trail is documented, then every previous denial becomes perjury. Every previous deflection becomes obstruction of justice. And Zohran still has more documents in his folder. Ms. Leavitt, he continues, his voice now carrying the clinical precision of a prosecutor, delivering a closing argument. Are you aware that this same shell company received an additional $1.2 million payment on November 8th? 4 days before today's email release. The temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. Even veteran reporters who have covered decades of Washington scandals are staring in disbelief. The final piece, he says, producing a third sheet of paper, is the canceled check, made payable to consultation services and signed by. He pauses for dramatic effect, letting the cameras zoom in on the signature, the President of the United States. The briefing room doesn't just fall silent. It dies. Even the usual background hum of equipment goes quiet, as if the building itself is holding its breath. Leavitt looks like she's been physically struck. Her mouth opens and closes, but no words come out. Her political career is ending in real time, broadcast live to the world. Behind her, through the briefing room's glass doors, senior White House staff can be seen rushing down the hallway. Phone calls are being made. Crisis management protocols are being activated. But it's all too late. In the third row, Zohran Mamdani closes his folder with the satisfied expression of a chess player who has just delivered checkmate in 7 moves. He doesn't gloat or grandstand. He simply sits back and waits for Leavitt to attempt an answer that everyone in the room knows she can't give. The truth has just been weaponized, and the target never saw it coming. At 1:52 p.m. Eastern Time, exactly 5 minutes after the briefing began, Karoline Leavitt does something unprecedented in White House history. She walks away from the podium mid-question, leaving the briefing room in stunned silence. The cameras keep rolling, broadcasting empty lectern to 30 million viewers who just watched a presidency begin to crumble in real time. In the third row, Zohran Mamdani's phone buzzes with a text from his chief of staff. Every major news outlet wants an interview in the next hour. He doesn't reply immediately. Instead, he watches the empty podium and allows himself a small smile. 3 hours later, as congressional Republicans demand emergency hearings and Democratic leaders call for special prosecutors, Zohran Mamdani sits in his Queens District office, reviewing the remaining documents in his folder. Because what he revealed today was just the beginning. The phone hasn't stopped ringing. CNN wants an exclusive. The New York Times is offering front-page placement. 60 Minutes is clearing their Sunday schedule. But Zohran isn't taking calls. He's studying bank routing numbers and cross-referencing them with political donation records. Outside his office window, news vans are setting up satellite dishes. By evening, this quiet street in Astoria will be the center of the political universe. Campaign finance lawyers are already boarding planes to Washington. Justice Department prosecutors are canceling dinner plans. House committees are calling emergency weekend sessions. The wire transfers he exposed represent only 30% of the total financial connections he's uncovered. The real bombshell, the document that will bring down not just press secretaries but cabinet officials, sits in a safe deposit box in Manhattan, and he's planning to reveal it tomorrow. But first, there's something else. A fourth document in his folder that connects these payments to an even darker truth. Evidence that the money wasn't just flowing to Epstein associates. It was flowing to active political campaigns. Current members of Congress, sitting judges. The document in question is a Federal Election Commission filing, cross-referenced with the same routing numbers from the Epstein payments. It shows that within 72 hours of each White House transfer, identical amounts appeared as donations to 12 different political action committees. The money was being laundered through the political system itself, buying influence at every level of government. 3 federal judges received Epstein-connected donations during their confirmation processes. 4 Senate committee chairmen accepted contributions that originated from the same offshore accounts. Even some Democratic candidates, politicians who publicly demanded Epstein file releases, had unknowingly accepted tainted money. The scandal that started with ancient emails is about to become a present-day constitutional crisis. Because what Zohran has uncovered isn't just corruption. It's evidence of a shadow political economy that has been operating in plain sight for years. Tomorrow, when he releases the full FEC filing, it won't just bring down a press secretary or a cabinet official. It will require a complete audit of American campaign finance. It will force both parties to confront the possibility that their own members are compromised. And it will prove that Jeffrey Epstein's network didn't die with Jeffrey Epstein. It evolved, adapted, and learned to hide behind the very institutions designed to expose it. Sometimes the most powerful weapon in Washington isn't money or influence or political connections. Sometimes it's just the truth, carefully documented and revealed at exactly the right moment. As reporters flood out of the briefing room to file their breaking news stories, one question hangs in the air. What else is in Zohran Mamdani's folder, and when will he choose to use it? The answer, as America would soon discover, is sooner than anyone thought. Because truth, once unleashed, has a way of demanding more truth. And Zohran Mamdani has been collecting evidence for months. So what do you think? Was this financial exposure pure genius or something even more devastating? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe for more stories from the front lines of politics, where documentation is the ultimate weapon.